Thank you so much, friends. A very good afternoon. And for this very important session on the implementation of the new KYC process, which came into operations from 1st of November 2022. And there is a lot of confusion and a lot of clarity that everyone seeks about how do you go take it forward. And there is a complete process change, and we need to understand this because KYC happens to be a very important critical element to our investment process. And I thank Mr. Karthikeyan Shanmugam, the Senior Vice President who heads the CAMS KRA unit. And it's been an honor to have you, sir. And thank you so much for joining us and helping friends at FIFA to members at FIFA to for you. And we seek your guidance to how to take it forward. Thank you, Yuvraj, for this one, for initiating this. And thank you for giving us to hear from your side and helping us with this process. I'll just give you a brief about Mr. Karthikeyan Shanmugam. He joined CAMS in December 2020. He's responsible for the back-end operations of few of the AMCs. Apart from this, Mr. Karthikeyan is also responsible for the service delivery of CAMS KRA operations. He brings him with him a vast business knowledge, and in this past few years, he has played pivotal role as customer service process owner to help harmonious process across units. And once again, welcome, Mr. Karthikeyan. The floor is yours. I would just request every member, whatever questions that you have, if you can put it on the chat. After the presentation is over, we would take up each of those questions so that we could answer, that we could help you answer those questions. Over to you, Mr. Karthikeyan.
Thank you so much, Rupat. I appreciate the warm welcome. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me. When Yuvraj actually told me about this, I was a little skeptical. I said that I'm not an expert in that sense, but the fact that being managing this and leading this implementation process, I said, okay, whatever I know, I'll be glad to share. And I said, let me first look for this logo of FIFA, and I like the logo, and I think I couldn't get the logo with the charioteer there. Couldn't find the Krishna there. I couldn't get that bit of it. I said, okay, whatever we have. I think the reason I like the logo was I think all of you members who are there and reading this and getting the the investors, the people who've been in the business, you have been the guiding force to them, and I'm sure the industry has grown thanks to all your efforts. So I appreciate that, and thanks for having me once again. Before I go to the presentation per se, just a little preamble about how all of this is coming to be. The SEBI had, prior to even 6th of April, before the circular was launched, did put together some kind of a discussion points amongst the KRAs and maybe a few other people in the industry body as well about getting validation of Aadhaar to be done as one of the important process change. So there were pros and cons, and finally the circular came into effect on 6th of, I wouldn't say came into effect, was released on 6th of April, and it had initially given the date of July as the initial go live. Then it got postponed once again. Then the final date now is 1st of November. My presentation, in my opinion, would probably take only about 15 minutes or so. Essentially, it's more about what is it that is being the change which is being brought about is what I'm going to talk. So, as we all know, anyone who submits a KYC application has to give one of the proof of identity and the proof of address as well. So the proof of address, if somebody were to give Aadhaar, what is it that the KRAs are supposed to do is all that the circular is talking about. The non-Aadhaar, there is just no change. Whatever was the process that was being followed for non-Aadhaar, that pretty much continues. What is a non-Aadhaar OVD? A non-Aadhaar OVD would be your driving license, it could be your voter ID card, could be your passport. I think there are some 5-6 documents which are there, including some utility bills. By the way, bank statement is not a valid document as per CERSAI. So while a bank statement is something that we are accepting, some of us are accepting the KRA, it's not a valid document because that doesn't get you the KIN number. So I would request you to take away the bank statement as one of this. Right now we are accepting it. I think the KRAs at some point of time will say no to it. So moving away from that, non-Aadhaar remains per se, we are only talking about Aadhaar. So quickly to the presentation. As I mentioned, this presentation is only about Aadhaar and what is the changes which is coming in here. So this was the circular that came on 6th of April, and essentially about what is it that the KRAs are supposed to validate. We are supposed to validate an Aadhaar which is submitted as an OVD. An Aadhaar as an OVD can come via a physical or via a digital mean. Irrespective of what it is, we as KRAs have been given the responsibility to validate it. This is effective from 1st of November, and this validation is applicable for any new KYC that comes into it, and also for any modification request, and any such modification request, and if the applicant were to give a Aadhaar as an OVD to support it, then that Aadhaar document has to be validated. So it is applicable for new KYC applicants who provide Aadhaar as a document. It is also applicable for any modification request which is supported with Aadhaar as a OVD. All of this have come into effect 3 days ago, which is from 1st of November. Gist of the requirements of the above circular. What is it that the circular is asking us to do? The circular is asking us to, like as mentioned, validate the Aadhaar, validate an email, and validate the mobile. What is it that we will validate in the Aadhaar? So when we pick up the Aadhaar and if there is a scanner and you want to read the QR code which is there, and if you were to read the QR code attributes, you will get these 4 which is mentioned there, which is the name, the address, the gender, and the photo. We will validate it against the application which is submitted. So that's the validation that we refer to as an Aadhaar validation. Email validation is where an email is provided in the application, and whatever email is provided in the application, we will be sending out a OTP to that email address, and the OTP has to be returned back by the applicant to us in the space provided, and which is one way of validation. The other validation is if an email is being sent triggered by us to the email address which is mentioned there, even a delivery of an email is considered as a successful process. As long as we don't get a bounce, an email bounce from that email address, that is treated as a successful delivery and the email is validated. Mobile validation is the same process where an OTP is triggered to the mobile number. So the SMS will carry the OTP, and the person has to send it back to us in this space provided. So this is where the mobile validation process is. So 3 things that we validate: Aadhaar, email, mobile. Is email and mobile mandatory field? Initial circular that was released on 6th of April did mention that it is a mandatory field. Subsequently, with the representation from, I'm sure, your organization and some of the leading distributors and others, and plus of course Amphi and others, it was then said, okay, it is not a mandatory field, but please do insist on getting them. And I, as a somebody who's been in the RTA side of it and also on the KRA side of it, my request to the members here would be that please get the email and mobile, which is very useful, which is necessary, because any kind of changes can go to the investor, can avoid any kind of fraudulent transactions. So in a way, it would be good if the email and mobile is obtained in all your applications. Moving on. What is the outcome of this particular process? What happens? If the Aadhaar is the OVD which is being given by the applicant, SEBI circular clearly mandates that if the Aadhaar is not successful, if the Aadhaar is not validated successfully, they shouldn't do any transaction in the securities market. So that is the simple message which comes out of it, which means, okay, being from the mutual fund side of it, I will talk more in relation to what the mutual fund is. So today, if an applicant were to submit the KYC and if Aadhaar is going to be the document, I'm talking once again, I repeat once again, it's a new KYC that we're talking about. not about the ones where already the KYC is done. So we're talking about new KYCs with effect from 1st of November. So anyone who's submitting a new KYC, if they are, and if Aadhaar is the OVD which is being given, if it doesn't get validated successfully, which means if we don't get the attributes from UDAI, what we will do, we will not allow them to do any transaction in the mutual fund. This is the simple guideline which is there in the SEBI circular. What happens to if a non-Aadhaar is being submitted, which means what happens if a non-Aadhaar document like a driving license or a voter ID or any of those are submitted, existing process continues, there is no change. If an email and a mobile is being provided, we will validate them. And if it is there, we will update it in our records. So if it is not there, it doesn't matter. It's not a mandatory field, so everything continues. What is the timeline? I'm sorry, I didn't mention that out here. There is a timeline which is there, which is not mentioned in my presentation. My apologies on that. The timeline for, earlier the timeline for any kind of a KYC application was to be successfully verified was T plus 10 days was the time given by SEBI. Well, it was T plus 10. Most of the KRAs were doing it within 3 days or within 4 days. So that's the kind of TAT that we were all doing. The new guidelines specifically mentions that T plus 2 days is the timeline to be given for if Aadhaar is mentioned as a OVD, and there is no change to an Aadhaar. So the timeline for a non-Aadhaar continues to be T plus 10. What happens if an existing investor who's given Aadhaar as an OVD? So prior to 1st of November, there are many applicants who have given Aadhaar as an OVD, and there's a substantial number with all the KRAs we know who are operating. The count is as high as about 25-30% of our records are today with Aadhaar as an OVD. Nothing happens in terms of their transaction. They continue to do their transactions. Nothing stops it. But what is it that the KRA are supposed to do? The KRA are supposed to revalidate all those KYCs within the next 6 months. We have been given, my apologies, the date is wrongly mentioned as 2022 is 2023. So we have time till April 30, 2023 to complete the revalidation. So just remember that bit of it. So it's not April 30, 2022. So it's April 30, 2023. So that's the change. My apologies on that. I will make it so that it doesn't confuse. So this in essence is the the circular guidelines as far as the investors are concerned. So moving on to the next slide, what are the documentation that is there? I don't think I need to spend too much time on this, but just remember that the fact that with Aadhaar being the document, UDAI guidelines are very clear that Aadhaar number cannot be stored. As a matter of fact, all the KRAs are at a joint meeting which was enabled by SEBI with the UDAI officials, and UDAI was very clear that you cannot store an Aadhaar document with the 12 digits there. You can store only the last 4 digits. The first 8 digits have to be masked. There is no choice about it. So my request is anyone of you submitting the Aadhaar physical copy or anything, please ensure that it is completely masked. Not completely. The first 8 digits are masked before submit. The rest of the other things remain the same. Applications are there, with the photograph, signature, all of this, whether it is a digital or whether it is physical, more or less it remains the same. It is just that you will be doing it digitally. Otherwise, we'll be submitting a physical copy. Everything else remains the same. The documentary proof in the case of a digital, you will upload it online. Out here, you will submit it physically. So pretty much whether it is physical or online, everything remains the same. The last point that I mentioned in this one is about independent PAN and name validation with income tax database. Please remember that the PAN and name validation is an exercise which was being done even from prior to 1st of November, which all of you are aware. So most of the time, a rejection of an application will happen only if the PAN number which is mentioned is something which is not valid, or something which is not there in the income tax database, or there is something error in it. So otherwise, PAN and name validation was done and will continue to be done. So that's a mandatory requirement from the authorities. So this pretty much is on the documents that needs to be submitted. There's one thing that I also want you to take care and take note of, and this is again a guideline which has come from UDAI. The guideline from UDAI is very clear that KRAs need to get a consent from the applicant, that the applicant is willing to share the the details of theirs from UDAI and are willing to pass it on to the KRA. So there is a line which is mentioned in the application form. Some KRAs have created a separate consent form by itself for people to sign and hand it over. So those documents are something that needs to be submitted along with this. What are the various types of Aadhaar? You can generate an Aadhaar by multiple means. Every one of you must have received, a physical Aadhaar card, or you'd have having a, an ATM kind of a card which you must be having, which has been issued in the last about 3-4 years now. So you must be having one of those ATM kind of a, Aadhaar card, or you must be having the Aadhaar card, which is a physical paper kind of a copy, which is there. So this is the Aadhaar card that you have, which when you submit it as a photocopy or something, you will have to blacken out the first 8 digits. You can also generate an Aadhaar PDF document, which will have a QR code in it, and this can be downloaded from the m-Aadhaar. m-Aadhaar is nothing but a mobile app which UDAI has released, which any one of us can download. It's available in, I think, in both iOS and in Android. I think so, but at least for Android, I know it is available. So m-Aadhaar is available as a app, and you can download it from the Play Store. This is something which will help you to generate the Aadhaar PDF when you log into it. Similarly, if you log into the website of UDAI, you can go and download an e-Aadhaar PDF. This again is a feature where you need to log into the website, given your your 12-digit number, and OTP will go to your mobile number, and only then can you download your e-Aadhaar. And when you download them, the application will, the website does ask for it, saying that, do you want a masked Aadhaar or do you want an Aadhaar mentioning the digits? My request to you all is to download the one where the Aadhaar is masked. Please do not download the one where you get to see the Aadhaar number, because there are applications which have been developed by the KRAs, by which if the 12 digits are shown, it will reject those applications right then and there. So it's something that's we have tried to follow basis what UDAI guidelines are. Online is something where where you can get into and that's a process where most of the distributors and the AMCs and others have tied up with service providers, by which you can go and get your Aadhaar credentials validated by putting in your Aadhaar number. It will go and ping to UDAI, and UDAI will send you a OTP. You complete the authentication process by putting in the OTP, and then you can generate your XML. XML file will then get pushed to the the recipient. So these are all online means by which you can go ahead and do it. Biometric is another method which is very popular. Again, the DigiLocker is another method which is very popular, by which you can get the credentials downloaded from UDAI. So this is as far as the different types of Aadhaar is concerned. Moving on to it, what is it that CAMS KRA has done to provide a solution for those who are providing physical copies? I'm not getting into the digital side of it, because digital is something which all of you know, most people are aware of it, and it is already available as an option in multiple things, and you will be able to do a any transaction that you want to do. And if you are a fresh KYC applicant, it will, if you put in your PAN number, and if you are not KYC compliant, then it automatically takes you through all the procedures to complete the process of a KYC validation. So that's pretty much in been there for the last 3-4 years now. And so digital is something that I'm not taking too much into. I'm just talking about where people bring a physical copy to your office, or the distributor walks across to the investor house and collects the documents from them. Then what is it that we are supposed to do? So there are two solutions that CAMS has developed. Pretty much there are others in the market who've also done similar solutions. A web link solution is one where there is a web link which we have created, in which you can go and using that web link, the downloaded QR code, the PDF from m-Aadhaar you can upload it into it. Similarly, you can upload the e-Aadhaar PDF into it. The QR code which is there in the document will get read by this application that we have developed. So all the attributes of that QR code will get downloaded to CAMS KRA, and you can then complete the process. Then you can go and hand over the physical application to to the AMC or to the CAMS front office. We will collect them, and once we do the data entry, we will be able to match the physical application to the attributes that have come when you have completed this process of downloading this Aadhaar and feeding in the data. We've also developed an app, a mobile app solution, which is a part of our existing solutions. I will take that as we move on to the couple of slides later. As I said, this is a web link solution that I was referring to where CAMS has developed it. So we have a link. In the link, if you go there, there is a verification process that we have put in. We have given some 4 options in this. The first option is an m-Aadhaar QR code. This again is something which is available from the m-Aadhaar mobile app, which is available. You also have the e-Aadhaar and the m-Aadhaar PDF upload, which is what I mentioned in the previous slide, where you can download the PDF from the m-Aadhaar app or from the website of u.e.f. These are options which are available there. Once you get them and you click on the second option, which is e-Aadhaar, m-Aadhaar PDF upload, it will tell you the next set of steps that you have to follow to upload your PDF document. Once you complete the process, the attributes that are there will come to CAMS KRA. So that's pretty much very simple for everyone to follow. This is the u.e.f. website where you should go in and log in, and you have to log in with your 12-digit there. An OTP gets generated to the mobile number which is registered with u.e.f. That OTP number, then once you feed in, then the system allows you to get it. I'm sure these are all very familiar because Aadhaar has been there for more than a decade now, for almost about 15 plus years. So in a way, all of this is has been there for a long time now. So please log in. It's very, very user friendly. It's an easy one to download your e-Aadhaar PDF. I told you about the m-Aadhaar. This is a mobile app which is available. You will have to download this mobile app from the Play Store, and you can generate 2 things from this. Something called as generating QR code is number 1. And the second is generating a m-Aadhaar PDF. Then you can download it and again upload it into the web link option that we've given. The last one that I have is relating to a QR code reader for a physical Aadhaar. Now, the first 2 screenshots that you can see here, these 2 are available in the app, which is the H360, which some of the distributors could be using it. The H360, this particular one was developed for distributor community. Now, what to do with this, those of you who are using it, if you have downloaded it recently, you can see there is an option called CAMS KRA Aadhaar QR Scanner. This particular app, when you download, you don't have to do any registration. You don't have to create any credentials. You don't have to log in. This is a standalone feature which is available in the homepage of H360. So if you go into H360 and if you click on this CAMS KRA Aadhaar QR Scanner, the option which is there, it will ask you to feed in the PAN number of the applicant. Once you feed in the PAN number, then it will ask you to, can I scan the QR code, is another button that you have to click on. Once you click that, your camera gets invoked. Once the camera gets invoked, please go and focus it on the QR code which is there in the application, in your Aadhaar. It's a QR code is there in that physical card as well. So you can scan it. It will throw the attributes on your mobile itself. Once you get the attributes, there's a submit button, just submit it, and the details will reach CAMS KRA. So this is something that we've developed, very user friendly. Similarly, the same thing is also available in the other than H360, it is also available in the MyCAMS app that we have developed. So this again is a standalone feature. You don't have to do any registration. You don't have to log in to access this feature. Just go to this first page, home page called as, and then there is an option called register. Click on register. So while it takes you to register, you don't have to do any registration. There is another option called CAMS KRA Aadhaar QR Scanner. These are pretty much easy to handle, and I think should make life simple. That's present in all from my presentation. in summary, the three things that that Uday has asked us to do is, if somebody is giving Aadhaar as an OVD, please validate them. If a mobile number is mentioned, please validate the mobile. If an email is mentioned, please validate the email address. If someone is given all three, if any one of them fails, as per regulations of SEBI and SEBI clarifications, you need to put that applicant on hold, which means they can't do any KYC transactions. Sorry, they can't do any transaction in security market. That pretty much is my presentation. It looks like I've taken almost about 20-25 minutes on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Karthikeyan. I think we have quite a few of the questions which I'm going to read through. I'm sure this would be repeat, but I just wanted to clarify, because there were quite a few of them who have joined much after our presentation, a little later. So I think Akash asked, saying that for digital KYC mode, as earlier Aadhaar scan is not accepted now onwards, and first download Aadhaar from Aadhaar website and then you upload the file only as a Aadhaar proof as Aadhaar. I think you have addressed this.
That's right. You download the e-Aadhaar PDF or the m-Aadhaar PDF and upload the same in the link that I said we have developed for you. So just upload that into that link. That's point number one. I probably have not mentioned in that, but we've seen very clearly that a photocopy which is being given does not work. So please refrain from providing a photocopy, because the photocopy is quite smudged. The QR code is not readable in a photocopy, and if so, it kind of throws error. Then we have to reject the application. So it's important that you have the original e-Aadhaar PDF printed for people to upload it, or even for that matter to scan it with the scanner that we have developed and given it to you. Those are the means by which you could do it. Similarly, a laminated card. I see a lot of people carrying an Aadhaar card which is laminated. From a laminated card, you will not be able to use it. You'll not be able to scan the QR code contents in it. So that again, I would request you not to use it.
So it has to be, if you have a card, it has to be the original card and not the laminated card. That's what you're meaning to say.
That's right. So as I mentioned, you have this card. I don't know whether it is clear.
Yeah. Maybe
you get this card which is available, and then at the back of the card you have a QR code in it.
I think maybe you should. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Right. So you have the QR code in it. This is what we are asking you to scan on. But as I mentioned, you will have to have this original. If you're trying to do a photocopy of this, I wouldn't call it a photocopy. I've seen duplicates of this. That doesn't work. People try to say that, okay, I don't want to lose this one, so let me get a duplicate done. That doesn't work. Same goes with that Aadhaar card, that multicolored one that we all used to get. Again, there is a QR code in it, and please ask your investor to show the original so that the mobile app that we have developed can read that one. If you're going to use a photocopy, the chances are you'll throw an error. Same is the case with the laminated card.
Sure. So the second question, I'm just reading what has come so that, the link sent by CAMS on email ID for KYC through Aadhaar, only the second option of uploading the e-Aadhaar is working. Rest three are not working as we click on any of the other three options. It just opens a window to scan the QR, but it doesn't scan at all.
Okay, the first option is what's called as the QR code that is being generated from m-Aadhaar. So if you go to the m-Aadhaar, there is two options are there. One is generate QR code, and then you can generate the QR code, and then you can take a download of that, and you can focus your scanner on that, and it will still read the attribute. So that's one way of doing it. Second is the m-Aadhaar PDF that you can download and then upload it into the link. It's a little cumbersome. I know that for a fact. The second option is what they were all referring to as a m-Aadhaar PDF or the e-Aadhaar PDF that you can upload, and that works fine. The third one is an eKYC link, which is nothing but which will take you to the the online process of CAMS, where you can go and do all the options on the digital side of it. which essentially means you already need to have your, your documents like PAN card, your Aadhaar card. You need to have all of them ready with you, and then upload them and complete the process. So there is a certain amount of requirement which is mentioned in the website, where it takes you. But your concern is it is not working. Let me just take a look at it, because we did a fair amount of testing before we had launched it. The link, I've been seeing that people have been using different links. We had given one link which was at the trial at the UAT time of it. If that is the one, then please, ignore that. We've sent it subsequently on the 31st of October. We had sent another link to everyone. That's the one which is a valid. It's a short code. It starts with https cams.in. So that's the one that I would request you to look. I don't know which is the one that we have, but nonetheless, feedback taken. I'll do that. The fourth option is the one where a camera opens up, like what you mentioned. I'll be honest here. It doesn't do that great a job as compared to what the mobile app works. My request is please use the mobile app, which has got the same feature as compared to the one which is on the web link. The web link has a few technology challenges as compared to what comes in, because I'm not so knowledgeable, but the fact that I have known is the fact that the link, the fourth option, the camera that opens up doesn't really do a good job because it's got its own deficiencies as compared to what is available on the mobile app. So my request to you would be to use the mobile app and not the fourth one.
Okay, so there is Akash who writes saying that if KRA validate name of the client with Aadhaar, and the name as per PAN and Aadhaar have some variations, like old PAN do not provide enough space for just 30 characters limited or so old Aadhaar have short middle names, or Aadhaars have full name, and what KRA will do for this validation, which is there are names which have, which expanded initials in between are not there. Some have only initials between the PAN and the Aadhaar. So I think this question is about how would you match it?
Yeah, so see, there is an algorithm which has been developed to do the match, and that's an auto algorithm that works. And if it works fine, it will automatically go ahead and move on. Okay. But obviously, these are all technology which is already there, which is not something new. But where there is an error which is being thrown, for example, my name is Karthikeyan Shanmugam, and my application, let's say I only put in as Karthikeyan, yes, it will obviously come back and say, hey, listen, this doesn't match. So this goes for a manual match with an individual. What was being done by a system, it'll throw as an exception, and it'll go to an individual who will now verify it to see, okay, Karthikeyan, yes, this Karthikeyan Shanmugam, and they'll have some other attributes to validate. So once those are validated, then they will allow it to be passed. Okay. So the validation mechanism has been given by SEBI as well, which says the algorithm of name matching should be about 90%. Okay, sure. Got it. Again, Amrit Bhatia writes, as you said, bank statement is valid as of now, but will not be accepted on the later date. What will happen to the KYC if now done via bank statement as a proof of address? Will it stay valid, or the KYC stands invalid on the later date when you stop accepting the bank statement? So whatever KIN generated will remain valid. There's no change to it. Those are issued by CERSAI, and so they remain valid. What I was only referring to is, as a documentation, it's not allowed. So we have to stop that. That's my request.
So when would you think saying that you would be stop accepting bank statements?
So yeah, all KRAs will come to a conclusion on this, and that we are. I mean, I'm not confirming at this point of time. 1st December is the date that we all have in mind.
Okay, sure, got it. So if KRA validated name of the client and the name in the PAN and Aadhaar differs like PAN first name, I think you've answered this question. So the second is, how will the KRA validate the email and mobile number? Will they call on the number to the investors, or send OTP to any other mode? Please explain on the same.
It's an OTP that will get sent. Okay, so there are two ways that we will validate an email and a mobile. One is, in the case of an email and a mobile, we will send an OTP and ask you to, refeed it and send it back to us. So that's as far as the mobile and email. Let's say we send it to the number which is mentioned there, and the person doesn't respond. What is it? The guideline that we have is the guideline says that we need to check the delivery status. If it is a successful delivery status to the mobile number and to the email address, that would be treated as successful, and we can go on with it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. How will a KRA revalidate old KYC where Aadhaar is given? Do MFDs have to do it again in that case?
It is so. We will come back to you. We are looking at different ways of doing it. One is, of course, reaching out to the KYC holders, because we have their mobile and email. Wherever it is available, we'll reach out to them and request them to complete the process. We'll give them a online digital link for them to do it, or we will educate them saying that, if you're not comfortable doing the online digital link, please submit the document. But this is what you need to do. We'll be very exhaustive in what our comments are and guidelines are. The KRAs have to finalize all of this procedure before the end of this month and start initiating the process. So this is work in progress at this time, but we will be as exhaustive as we can. We are trying to do all of this on an online method by sending an SMS and an email and giving a link and helping them to do. And obviously, wherever we can't do it, we will reach out to our friends, in FIFA and the other places to get this done. You have to help us to get it done, because at the end of the day, where SEBI circular also clearly says that, if it is not validated before 30th of April, then, they can't get into the securities market. You may have to put their transactions on hold. So you have a large role to play to ensure that it happens successfully.
Sure, got it. So, and there's a question saying that by Pratiksha, what is wet signature?
Physical people who submit the document on a piece of paper where you have a KYC application there, please ensure that you sign it. That's what we meant by a wet signature.
So Karthikeyan, there is a suggestion. I don't know if this is possible or not. Kiran writes saying that after session, please give us a demo online or and offline KYC. Is it possible, or we should do that session maybe sometime later?
Sometime later. I'm not ready with it.
Okay.
I need to get some.
So maybe sometime later, Kiran, we will just arrange for that demo online, and I'll work it out with Karthikeyan and his team, and we'll get that done shortly. Okay. Sanjay writes, if mobile number is not registered with Aadhaar, then how it gets verified? I think you have to get the number updated, right?
Absolutely. If the mobile number is not there in Aadhaar, and OTP will not get, will not go to the individual there. So obviously, then they can't use it to download an e-Aadhaar PDF or a m-Aadhaar PDF. They can't do any of those. But what can they do? It's not that, nothing can happen. They also have the Aadhaar card that I showed you, or any other card that they have. They can go there, put it over the scanner and read the contents and push it to us. So that's another option that they have. And of course, there is also another distributor friend of mine had clearly said, if none of these work, I'm not going to get into this, but I'll get into a non-Aadhaar document and submit it and move on. But please remember, interesting anecdote, we may want to know today, Aadhaar is the de facto document. About 80 to 85% of the documents that come are with Aadhaar. So it's important that people get their mobile number registered with July.
Sure. There's Praveen who writes saying that, say on the PAN card, it's JK Bora is written, but in the income tax database, it's written as Jeevan Kumar Bora. By what name KYC is to be done?
By what means?
By what name KYC is to be done? He's checking.
We will go by the application which is there.
Okay.
What is written in the application?
Perfect. I think there's someone who's asking for a soft copy of your presentation. So maybe if you are comfortable, then you can share it with us, and we share it with our members.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Oh, there are some questions where they say that, they want it in Hindi. So we'll have to do this exercise in Hindi again. I think Mr. Karthikeyan Shanmugam is not very comfortable in Hindi. I'm really sorry, but I will get that.
I can manage, but you may not be comfortable.
Okay.
Hindi, I'm sorry, my apologies on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
बात तो कर सकता हूँ, yeah.
So Ekta writes saying that Aadhaar copy is color or black and white, which is important. I think the new ones which come are on the color Aadhaar
Color
copy.
is better. Color is better. If you're uploading the PDF and others, yeah, the color is always better. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So downloading, Rakesh writes, downloading Aadhaar on UIDI is required tick mark under signature valid. Downloading Aadhaar on UIDI, is it required to ensure tick mark under the signature valid? I'm not very sure about understanding this question. Charmi Shah writes, I want to understand why onboarding process is so complicated. There are so many people out there who are not tech savvy. How can they validate mobile and email?
Yeah, it is a challenge. I don't have a solution, but I mean, it's the same set of investors, mostly also in some form in the, using the applications widely, I mean, people are using apps so much, unless they're all only into feature phones and not having exposure to a software, to a smartphone. Otherwise, today, I guess everybody is using the Amazons and the, all of those applications so comfortably. I'm not sure. We should encourage them to get into some email ID. I don't have the answer to your question, but nonetheless, it's important these days.
Vipan Agarwal writes, e-Aadhaar PDF should also be blacked out.
Yes, e-Aadhaar PDF has to be blacked out, yeah, because you have to get the OTP triggered. That OTP has to come to you, then you can download the PDF, then you keep it somewhere, then you use the web link, and then you upload it. So there is an effort there, so you need to be planning for it.
So there's a request saying that from Prasad, who writes saying that Edge 360 CAMS mobile app, why is it still not available on iOS, Apple iOS?
On its way, yeah. I don't have a timeline, but yeah, it's on its way. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So Deepu Avasthi writes, Aadhaar validation is to be done by distributor or CAMS or AMC.
See, validation is something which has been given to the responsibility of the KRA to do it. Okay. So what you are feeding in is something that we are validating. So how will we validate? If it is a digital, the XML that gets generated from UDI gets pushed to us and we validate it, simple and straight. If it is physical, that is where all these attributes which come when you download a PDF and upload it onto our link, or you put the scanner on the Aadhaar card and get that attributes and you submit. All of those come to us and there are validation mechanisms to say it is all done. So it's a responsibility of KRA. So where we need your help, where we need your help is to do this basics before that. Otherwise, it will only be rejection. You need us to ensure that they don't put a photocopy. You need to help us to ensure that the PDF downloaded. See, people download a e-Aadhaar PDF, take a print of it, and then take a Xerox of that print. That doesn't help. Put the original print itself rather than putting a Xerox of the print there. Xerox, the photocopy doesn't work.
So this is a very long question. I'm just reading. I think half of it you have addressed, but I'm just reading out the question. It says, as per the current PAN process, the full name of the PAN holder is recorded with Income Tax Department, and PAN card holder have an option to get abbreviated names printed on their PAN cards. In case where an abbreviated name is printed on the PAN cards, financial intermediaries are not able to see or verify the PAN holder's full name. Whereas the Aadhaar card, the full name of the Aadhaar holder is printed. In Aadhaar-based KYC, name in the KYC appears as Aadhaar data with UADAI. In present PAN basis, in the present PAN-based KYC system, it's not clear whether the KYC is being prepared by looking at the name of the investor, which is printed on the PAN card, or as per full name recorded in the income tax department. So for financial intermediaries like us, it's not clear which name we should use for investors, the abbreviated name printed on the PAN card or the full name recorded with the income tax department. And we don't have access to the name which is there in the income tax department.
I mean, I'm a little.
It's a very technical question. I think we will have to clarify this with a compliance person, and we will just definitely get back to you on this particular question. Okay. Okay. Then again, they're saying that can we share presentation if we opted for documents? Okay. Then we have, we can find other. Where can we find Aadhaar validation process in H360 mobile app?
Right in the homepage, you will get to see that. If you're asking for the scanner, it is there. Is that the question? I don't know. But if it is a scanner, it is right there in the homepage itself. Validation results won't come into that. You still have to log into the CAMSKRA website to know the PAN and put in the PAN to know whether the PAN has now been validated or not. So I hope I've answered the question.
So, Paya, right, saying that is there any change while completing the KYC via online?
No, there's no change. Because see, online, when you're referring to online, I'm referring to online where, this is online using the OTP method or the biometric method that is being used with the help of UDAI. So there is no change. Pretty much everything remains the same because the validation gets done earlier. It was done. But earlier, what used to happen is that the XML field was something that we did not have. Thus, we just went by the validation process. Today, the XML field will come to us and we'll hold on the field, we'll store the field with us. So in that context, that's a change at the technical end of ours. But as far as the user experience is concerned, it remains the same.
Okay. There's someone who's written saying that I have an updated app of CAMS H360, but it doesn't reflect the options which you have shown during the presentation.
Just please go and first of all, it's Android supported, number one. Number two is please go to Play Store and look for an update of the application once again. Once you update it, then it will get shown. If it was not updated recently, you won't be able to see the option.
Okay. Akshay writes, what about clients having KYC and submitted Aadhaar also? His KYC is registered. Should Aadhaar be revalidated?
Yes. Aadhaar has to be revalidated, and that is what we are asked. We have clarified. We have another 6 months to complete it. By 30th of April, we have to revalidate all those who have submitted existing customers. That's prior to 1st November. Whoever has submitted, we have to revalidate it, and we have to revalidate it by either sending a link to them and asking them to do it digitally or asking them to come in person and submit their documents in a certain manner, like what we've been talking about. And all of them have to be revalidated. That is a guideline from SEBI.
So all of them has to be revalidated by 31st of March 2023.
30th of April.
30th of April 2023.
Yes.
Okay. Client give OTP for Paresh writes saying that client will need to give OTP for both email and mobile number validation, and to whom? I mean, how will this function?
When the OTP comes there, it will tell you, to refeed it, what should be done there. It says type in, and then it will tell you where. So you can just type in the OTP number that comes to you, and it will get re-pushed back to us.
Okay. Is it mandatory to submit this physical copy after PDF uploads through CAMS link?
Yes.
Oh, after the CAMS link, the physical copy has to be submitted.
Yeah. If you're submitting the KYC application,
Okay.
I presume you'll do that because you have the KYC application to be submitted. Along with it, please submit this as
well. Okay. As you told about old investments, is it necessary to revalidate? I think existing KYC too. I think we have answered that. Yes, you will have to do that before 30th of April 2023. Printed Aadhaar needs to be self-attested by uploading.
Not required.
Okay, it's not required. In physical KYC, if we submit a Aadhaar QR code on link, do we also get a mail to process the KYC?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
In physical KYC, if we submitted the Aadhaar QR code on link, do we also get the mail to process the KYC?
Do we also get the mail?
Email to process
to get
the KYC.
Oh, no, not required. There's nothing which is required from you because you have submitted the e-Aadhaar PDF and that attribute comes to us automatically. All of those which you have submitted comes to us, gets flown to us. Physical document is what you will come and submit to us in our front office. There isn't anything other than this that you need to do.
Sure. So there's a question, Rajesh writes, what is easier, e-KYC to be done or take Aadhaar copy and validate through process, physical processing?
E-KYC is easier.
E-KYC is easier. Okay.
You're sitting in the comfort of your place and doing all of that.
Yeah. E-Aadhaar PDF is also password protected. Any issue in that? Should e-Aadhaar be downloaded with first 8 digits and blacked out?
Yeah. So when you go to e-Aadhaar PDF, it actually asks you for an option saying that do you want a masked copy of the Aadhaar? Please say that it's just a tick box in it. You say yes, and then you can download the e-Aadhaar PDF, which is masked. So the first 8 digits will get masked by itself and get downloaded to you.
Sure. So Vidhi writes, as you said, mobile and email are to be validated. Does that mean that the mobile and email mentioned in the KYC application?
Yes. Yeah. So I think the question is arising because of the fact that people have a mobile number which is seeded with Aadhaar, which could be different from the mobile which is written in the application. If we get a mobile and an email which is different, or rather which is shown in the application, physical application, we will send it only to that. Yeah, we will not bother about what is being mentioned, what is coming from UDAI.
Okay, so it will be what is written on the application.
This is what is written on the application. That's right.
Okay. Kumar Vale writes, recently for the past few months, broking house account KYC process done with mobile number and email ID validation only for these accounts. No more further requirements, right? Please confirm.
Can you summarize that?
Recently, for the past few months, broking houses, which is your direct trading brokers, I am suppose what he's writing, KYC process has been done through mobile and email ID validation only.
Okay.
For these accounts, do we need furthermore requirement of the same revalidation? That's what he's saying.
Yeah, see what validation is done by broking houses or anybody else, or for the matter even AMCs, has nothing, because this is a regulation which is passed for the KRAs to do the validation. So we still have to.
So you still have to submit it to the KRAs. Right. Yeah. Sanjay writes, we should have to do Aadhaar validation by those apps like H360, MyCams, MyAadhaar, etc. for KYC.
No, Aadhaar validation meaning, see, those apps have been developed only to extract the details which is there as a part of the QR code in the document there. That's all that it will do. Validation then gets done by us at the KRA at the back end.
So Karthikeyan, this is a question which talks about saying that do we need to update contact details relation for KYC? This is for non-individual transaction.
No, nothing. The non-individual, there's no validation being done. These rules don't apply at this point of time.
So non-individuals, these rules don't apply. This is only for individual investors.
That's right.
Yeah. Lakshmi Narayan writes, already PAN is linked with Aadhaar in most of the MF folios. Then why is the process of verification, verifying existing KYC where Aadhaar is submitted?
I mean, good question in a way, but then not every PAN is linked with Aadhaar. We still have, as a mutual fund, servicing so many, as an RTA servicing so many mutual funds, I can tell you, we still have many of them who haven't completed the process. That's one. But number two is, Why has SEBI asked to do? I don't want to hazard a guess here, but the fact of the matter is we've been told to do and we are doing it. So we are getting the data.
Okay. So Sujit writes, can NRI be able to use old KYC or need to do a new KYC? Because we've already sent the old KYC to NRI, and why? So I think you have no choice but to get the new KYC forms done in case if it's an NRI, right?
New KYC forms, if it is to be done, if it is an NRI, actually there's no change for them also. It's just that if an Aadhaar is a document which they have given, then yes, it has to be changed. Yes.
What if the mobile number is not linked with Aadhaar? It will be rejected, right?
It won't get rejected. See, mobile number is just for you to complete the thing with the UDI process to get the OTP and do it. Let's say you don't have a mobile number linked with Aadhaar at all. There are many people who don't have a mobile and email address linked with UDI. Nothing happens to it. I mean, it's not a mandatory requirement. I still repeat, it is not a mandatory requirement, but please do have it. It's a good to have. So if it is not there in UDI, it doesn't matter. And let's say it is not there in UDI, but you have mentioned it in the application form, which is a different one. We will validate the email and the mobile number which is there in the application form, and that has to be successful. That's point number one. Number two, the validation of Aadhaar is something that you would have done since you don't have a mobile number linked to UDI's thing. You will not be able to do the e-Aadhaar PDF or the m-Aadhaar PDF. The only way that you have to do is show the physical card and get it scanned and do it. So that's the only option that you have, at least as far as CAMS KRA is concerned.
So I think I'll merge these two questions, which talks about what about the existing investors whose KYC registered through Aadhaar. Second question is, what will happen for the existing investors who KYC has been done prior to 1st November 2022 and Aadhaar was given as OVD? How do we get data of those investors?
They have to get validated. No two ways about it. How do we reach the data? All of us have the data captured somewhere. The KRAs I'm referring to. We have the data as to what is the document type that has been given. So we have the data. We just need to ensure that it reaches out to the community which has facilitated it, which is people like you. The only challenge that we may have is we don't know, at least the KRAs haven't captured as to who brought in the document. Not every KYC application mentions the the distributor's name or number or anything there. So that could be a challenge. So, but nonetheless, we don't have an answer. We are all grasping with it at this point of time as to how do we do it. Give us another about 2 weeks and we should probably try to get some answers.
Sure. Thank you. I think you have answered this saying that what is the use of an offline Aadhaar to the XML, that online one. So you answered those questions. Can you please discuss the new KYC form? Is there anything specific that you want to understand in the case? Yeah,
there's only one thing in the new KYC form. See, the earlier KYC form did not mention anything about giving a consent to share the Aadhaar details. This one has it. So that's the reason why we, in the initial day, there was some confusion about which application form to give. Because UDI is very clear that that the investor or the applicant has to sign and say that yes, I'm willing to share my Aadhaar details to KRA. So specifically, that particular wording is there. So that's the reason for the new application form.
So Johar writes, on uploading the EM Aadhaar is done. How do you link this with the new KYC form, with the new KYC application?
The new KYC application link it with the
E-M Aadhaar.
E-Aadhaar or EM Aadhaar.
Yeah,
okay.
EM Aadhaar.
No. So what happens is the common field which is there in both will be the PAN number. When you do the E-Aadhaar or the EM Aadhaar and you want to scan it or put anything, you will have to type in one set of detail. The one data that you will type in is the Aadhaar number, is the PAN number. So you've got the PAN number. and which is also there in an application form, which is what we will do to correlate.
So it'll through the PAN that you will be linking.
Yeah, it is a PAN that we will have as the identifier, common identifier.
Common identification. Rupali writes, do we need to submit documents along with the follow the process of updation of Aadhaar through app or link? How email and mobile validation is done and who has to do it?
Email and mobile validation has to be done by the KRAs. All of this validation, be it Aadhaar, email, mobile, the responsibility is with the KRAs to do it. I know that even earlier, the distributors were doing it on their own because for their own requirement, they were doing it. You may please continue to do it, but the responsibility of still doing a validation, even if you say I have done it, we as a KRA have to do it, and that's a requirement.
Sure. Rupin, yes, we will be sharing the recording to all the FIFA members. We will be sharing it shortly in the next two to 3 days. Paresh writes, steps mentioned in the CAMS KRA verification 1, 2, 3, 4 is to be done by distributors, or it will be taken care by CAMS back office when the physical documents and forms are sent to them.
You can do it at your end. If you don't do it, then what you submit as a documentation is very critical for us to get it done at our end. As I mentioned, when you do it, you know for a fact that it is successful or not right then and there. If you've given it to us and moved away from there, and for some reason, if you are not able to do it, then it gets rejected. So while we would encourage you to complete it, if it comes to us with the original printed copy of the, not copy, I should say, printed document of the PDF, then the success rates is very high. But if somebody were to use a photocopy, it will not work. So it's to make it simple, I would request you to do it. If you can't do it, bring it to us, but please ensure that you bring the original one.
Sure. Simran writes, earlier the KYC which was done via online mode had a yearly investment limit of 50K. Is it still the same or it has been changed?
It's changed now. The fact that it's now OTP based and you've done it with UDA's credentials being passed on, it has changed. I think it was done in the year 19 or 20. I think that changed even earlier.
Sure. Please explain in short the process to validate Aadhaar details on how we will get the link and go through.
So if the link, the web link that you have will give you a set of directions to follow as to what to do. But like somebody had asked earlier, do we have to get prepared even before that? Yeah, you have to get prepared before that, because what we give in the web link is just to upload the PDF document. Prior to that, you should have, on your mobile or on your desktop, the PDF should have been downloaded and kept ready. So that is important to make that happen. So once you have done that, then it is just a question of uploading the document, putting in the PAN number, and just uploading the document. It's very simple. It's a very easy to use feature there.
So Anand Krishnamurthy writes, what happens if the KYC application does not have email ID at all? Can we use the same usual old KYC for the mobile?
Okay, if there is no mobile or email, nothing happens. We will continue, we'll validate just the Aadhaar alone and go with it. It's not a mandatory field. But the old KYC, I don't know what we mean by that, old KYC mobile.
Maybe if you don't write by oversight on the application, that's what I understand from here. And will you use the old email ID on the old KYC?
No, we will not be doing it. I presume Anand is referring to doing revalidation of an existing record. I don't know if he's referring to
that. You're right.
If it's revalidation of an existing record, as I said, guidelines are still being framed. What do we do with it? Let's like what he clearly mentioned. If it is not there, then should we send it to the old one, and should that be treated as valid, or what do we do? These are still being framed. I hope we'll have everything ready before the end of this month.
Okay. So Varun Ved writes, what will happen to financial and non-financial transactions post 30th April 2023 when Aadhaar as an OVD is not validated due to any reason?
By what circular says, you can't do any transactions. That's what the circular says. So you have to put the KYC on hold, and obviously you'll not be able to do any. Your SAPs will get stalled. Your transactions will come to an end. You will not be able to redeem. So those are the things which are there, but uh, still need some more clarity as we move on. Yeah.
So you did mention saying that even the ongoing SIP will stop if this by 30th April, if this is not.
That's right. That's right. So as I said, those are the implications that will have if your Aadhaar is not validated before 30th of April.
Okay.
That's what the circular says. How and what will it be done is a. I don't want to kind of put something into it at this time without even knowing what it is all about. Yeah, but that's what the guidelines is.
So we have 6 months, and in the 6 months, I think all of us as intermediaries, we have to see that all our clients validation is done, and the KYC is updated as per the new standard.
That is applicable for all those who have given Aadhaar as a movie.
Aadhaar as well. Yeah. So I think Vishal writes to us with a thing. One of our clients receives the below message saying that we are unable to accept your physical KYC application for PAN as the QR details could not read from the uploaded Aadhaar copy.
Yeah, so I don't know why.
Complete your KYC, please. There is a link which is given.
Yeah, so if you can't get let's say somebody submitted the photocopy and we couldn't read the QR code in that, and it was a failure, error throws up, then what we are doing is we are rejecting it and sending a link to the individual to say that now get it done on the eKYC link. So get it done through by using the Aadhaar number, uploading the PAN. Please do all of those so that you can do it digitally from your home. That's what we are trying to encourage. But if somebody is not tech savvy, yeah, it's a challenge.
Sure. So again, the question saying that by when the Edge 360 application will be available for iOS. So they want presentations to be sent. And one question, Rahul writes, hello, sir, most of my existing clients are tea workers. They are in the tea gardens, and their mobile phone number is not yet registered with their Aadhaar. And everyone, they have laminated their Aadhaar. So how do I revalidate their KYC?
I mean, I'm not the right answer to give, but then please get it done. See, I know there is a cost element that I'm talking about, but if you are, there is you just go to the w.e.f website and get the OTP done and ask for the latest Aadhaar card, and that will help you to get the the QR code to be read. So that's the only way that I can think of. But if people haven't linked the mobile with UDI, they should do it. I think I would request them to do it. It's getting very, very important in some of these, and I would urge them to do it.
Sure.
It's an effort, but yeah, let's get it done. Yeah.
So I think which KYC form to be used in the physical KYC application, it's the new form that has been introduced, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
The new form just has a mention about the consent that the investor is willing to share the credentials of.
So I think you have Abhishek's question you've answered. What to do if a client's mobile and email is not updated in Aadhaar? So I think you've answered that. If we verify, Pooja writes, if we verify the Aadhaar on CAMS KRA app and put reference number on the physical KYC form, is it mandatory to send Aadhaar copy with the KYC form?
We have requested that, yes, saying that, yes, please do.
Yeah, you have to attach it. For existing KYC, how can we get the data? Which of our clients submitted Aadhaar earlier? As you said, we have to validate the Aadhaar for existing KYC where clients has submitted Aadhaar. Is there any report from where we can get the details where clients have submitted Aadhaar as valid address proof in KYC?
Work in progress. We'll work with Yuvraj and team to see how we could get this.
Sure. Got it. In the new KYC form in section 2, there are 3 options for Aadhaar. F is for proof of possession of Aadhaar. Second is e-KYC authentication. 3 is offline verification of Aadhaar. Which one should we think is, in case of e-Aadhaar PDF is uploaded and Aadhaar reference number is generated, which is written on form as well?
The third one, offline.
Okay, so it's the third one, which is the offline verification of Aadhaar. So Charmi writes, in the nutshell, name should be as per which records? PAN, Aadhaar, name mentioned in the MF application form, driving license, voter's ID, utility bill.
I think, I mean, this is a question that gets repeated, but then the application generally, I don't know what, as I mentioned, my name is Karthikeyan Shanmugam. I have my passport mentioning Karthikeyan Shanmugam. I have my investment sum showing Karthikeyan, yes, something showing Karthikeyan Shanmugam. But the validation process, the way it would work is like this, that there is an algorithm which will run and say, okay, whether it matches or not, and wherever there is an exception, it will throw. That is our job, to just validate the process. What you write on it, like somebody mentioned JK Aurora, it could be anything. JK can be any expansion, but whatever is closely matching to it, we'll just go with it. We could be wrong in hindsight, but the fact is, what is given is what we will validate.
Sure. So there's a question from Varun. He says, what about w.e.f KYC, as address proof is only bank statement?
As I said, the bank statement things needs to come back.
So what happens in an w.e.f.'s case?
That's right. I'll have to come back to you on that.
Sure. Sure. So I think we will come back to you on the w.e.f KYC issue. So again, I think this is Sanjay writes, his bank statement as correspondent redress in KYC will be valid one?
Right now, we are accepting. My request is, please refrain from it. Please use something else which is there.
Sure.
Not anymore, and it will come to an end one of these days. Yeah.
How KRA will validate the existing KYC, what we need to do at our end? I think this is already answered. You will have to resubmit it and get it validated. As you said, mobile and emails are to be validated. Does that mean that mobile and email mentioned in the KYC application? Yeah.
Absolutely. What is mentioned in the application is what will get validated. As I mentioned, there could be 2 sets of mobile and email, one in the application form, which is completely different from what is there with the Aadhaar. But what is mentioned in the application form will get validated.
I think there's a question saying that, can we do e-KYC by using SBI or ICICI process as earlier? If not, what are changes for online e-KYC?
You can continue to use them. They pretty much are valid. They have also made changes to it in such a way that a KYC which is being pushed through them gets validated, and it shows that it is an Aadhaar validated. So they all made changes to their digital properties.
So Varun writes, for certain CKYCs done, KIN is not being generated since long in certain cases.
I mean, generic, I wouldn't know. One has to look at specific cases and then reach out. There could be issues. We need to find out which are those ones which have not generated. So we need to find why it is not generated, and is there any error which is coming up. But that can be done. So if there's some specific examples, you can reach out to Mr. Yuvraj and write to him, and I will see what we can do there.
Sure. So Kaustubh writes, in case of physical KYC, if we have scanned Aadhaar QR code, then is the physical copy, Aadhaar copy, also required to be submitted? I think this is a repeat question.
Yeah.
Yes, you will have to submit the application, the Aadhaar copy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, again, the same question saying that where will we get the data of all our existing clients? I think we will have to wait. I think the KRAs are working, how they can work it out. I think they will get back to us shortly. I think we have answered what happens if mobile and differs in forms of Aadhaar. Please provide KYC online demo. We will get that done shortly. Maybe next week, in the next 10 days, we'll get this done. So Uttam writes, if KYC is done through Aadhaar XML, is there any change, that is any further validation to be done?
No, nothing. Not for them, because whatever the XML that they get, they will push it to us. So then we will do the validation at our end, so that we will take care. So there isn't anything that they have to do any further. But XML just comes to us, that's all.
Yeah. In case email ID is bounced or message is not delivered on the given number, what will happen? I think that
technically it has to go on hold. If it is an Aadhaar based, it has to go on hold. If it is a non-Aadhaar, we still don't mind. We'll allow it.
Okay.
But as per the regulations, if Aadhaar is given and if a mobile and an email address is given, even if one of them fail, then that application will go on hold.
Yeah. So there's this question. I have some KYC for my clients. Some of it shows validating, some doesn't show any remark. What does it mean? Have you validated at your end, or it has been done successfully?
I don't know what it is. So just to clarify here, it's a good question. Anything that shows as KYC registered, the word registered means that must have been done prior to 31st October. After 1st November, anything that is done with Aadhaar as an OVD will show as KYC validated. Okay. Anything that is non-Aadhaar, if it is done after 1st of November, it will continue to show as KYC registered. And any new revalidation that we are doing or a modification request that is coming in with Aadhaar as a record, and once we do that validation, that will also show as KYC validated.
Sure.
So just to repeat, KYC registered is there, which will continue for all non-Aadhaar. Anything which is validated, which is Aadhaar validated, will show as KYC validated.
So there's a question, when doing online KYC, IN PAN and Aadhaar name mentioned as Adyalakshmi Haribabu, but the bank proof name mentioned as Adyalakshmi HS is processed the online KYC or not? I think again the name issue with the bank, because anyway your bank proof is not going to be accepted after a month.
That's right. Bank statements which is being given, yeah.
Yeah. So again, there is a question, the name which differs from the income tax department, will the application be rejected?
So if it is grossly doesn't match, obviously it will get rejected. But as I said, there are guidelines which have been given in terms of what percentage of matching that needs to be done. So by those logic, it will get done.
Yeah. Your presentation asked for wet signatures across photo also, but AMC asked not to sign across photo. What should be done?
Okay, the AMC records are asking. So, okay, the KRA guideline mentioned that it needs to be signed across. So I don't know what the AMC's requirements are. Let me check that.
So, yeah. So as per the KRA, there has to be a wet signature on the photograph.
That's right.
Okay. I think again with the same question by Amit, mobile number and email ID should be the same in KYC and Aadhaar, not required. Krishnan Anand writes, in case where Aadhaar is used as OVD, is it necessary that mobile number linked with Aadhaar has to be done compulsorily used, or any other mobile number can be used too? Many people have more than one mobile numbers these days, so this question.
Yeah, it can be a different number than what is there in Aadhaar. The same thing, yeah.
I think, Varun, what about w.e.f KYC? I think Mr. Karthikeyan will come back on the w.e.f KYC. We will get back to you shortly with clarifications on that. Is it mandatory to submit the physical copy after PDF uploads through the CAMS link? Yes, it is mandatory, right? It is mandatory to submit all the physical copies. Yeah. Are the investors required to self-attest documents submitted, or documents are to be attested by mutual fund distributors or by both?
No, documents have to be attested by mutual fund distributors or by the front officers of ours. So wherever it is there, we generally do it. Specific to Aadhaar as a PDF, the moment you are uploading Aadhaar as a PDF, we are not expecting you to sign any of those as a self-attestation. That is not required. But rest of the other document that you are submitting, like your PAN copy that you are submitting, will all be self-attested generally. So please continue to do those.
Okay. So there is one question saying that Mangesh writes saying that OTP confirmation mail has to be verified by the client or not?
By the client, meaning by the investor?
By the investor.
OTP confirmation. See, we've sent an OTP to them. And they
Yeah.
have confirmed it by refeeding that OTP and then sending it to us. So that's a must if they can do. But if it is not, then we go by the delivery. Success, if it is successfully delivered, that is what we will go by.
Sure. So Ashish, again, what about the existing investors whose KYC is registered to Aadhaar? You will have to resubmit it before 30th of April, right?
Right, that's right.
Rahul writes, does client need to validate mobile and email both, or any one will work?
Any one will work, but if they are given both of them have to be validated. We have to validate whichever is given. If both are not given, obviously nothing is there to validate. But even if one is there, that one has to be validated. Or if both are there, both have to be validated.
So Saiket writes, I have uploaded Edge 360 but could not locate QR code scanner.
Please go to the Play Store and say update the look for this app and update it. So once you get updated, then you will see that particular option which is available in the home page.
I think this is again the same question. We've answered this. What if the mobile number is A in Aadhaar and the new KYC form client mentions mobile B? Then which mobile number will the validation by KRA? I think the one which is there on the KYC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. On Edge 360, uploading Aadhaar is not available now. When will it be available?
Uploading Aadhaar?
Yeah.
There's no plans at this time. Yeah.
Okay. Pramod writes, can we register one single email ID in multiple KYC?
One single email in multiple KYC?
Yeah.
It doesn't prohibit anyone from doing that. But obviously when your investments are there in mutual funds, as you all know, the new regulations have asked us to declare as to whether it belongs to your family and who it is. So those kind of declarations are required for you to take care of your investments that are there in the mutual funds. So that you may have to take care of it, not with us.
Sure. Varun writes, how can we check if someone has already generated reference number by scanning Aadhaar QR code?
How can you generate reference number?
Yeah, how can we check if someone has already generated reference number by scanning Aadhaar QR code?
No, there is no option at this time to do anything like that. But what we are trying to develop is to see if some kind of a thing by which they can log into our website and put in the PAN number and see if any such submission has been done. So that's a work in progress at our end.
Sure. So Ekta, I think this is with regard to the proof of address for w.e.f. We will come back to you shortly. I think in the next few days, we will confirm on the w.e.f. KYC. Palak writes, OTP should not be shared with anyone. That's what most people know. Why will the investor share the OTP with any person calling them?
No, you are not sharing anything. If you are referring to the OTP which is being sent for your validating your mobile and your email, it will just come to you and you just have to refeed it and push it backwards, and the system will say, yeah, it's it. There isn't anything that you are sharing with us.
I think we have addressed this. What is the difference? What is, if there is a name difference of PAN card and Aadhaar, KRA returns the application. Please suggest a solution.
Solution. Okay, I don't have a solution at this time, but the care needs to be taken that, we are putting the right set of details there so that rejection doesn't happen at our end for lack of any, correctness in the application or the verifiable document which is being given to us. I don't have an answer at this time.
So Aksh writes, so many people don't have mobile number updated with Aadhaar. So will now onwards we will be able to onboard, not be able to onboard such clients, right?
No. If mobile and email is not there, that doesn't stop you from doing this. You can continue to transact. Yeah, you can do your KYC application.
Yeah.
It helps. That's all that we are saying.
So there is this question, the Aadhaar PDF generated has a date mentioned on it. Is the PDF valid for specific number of days post, which we may have to reload?
No, there isn't anything.
Huh?
No, there isn't anything like that.
There's nothing like that with the date mentioned on it, or is there any specific days or something that you have a limit?
No, nothing that we know of.
Okay. So Smita writes, do we need to update and contact details of detailed relation for KYC? I would suggest you add a contact relationship and email ID on the KYC form and fetch the data from KYC to folio level.
And I will pass the suggestion. I don't know if I'm competent to answer that, saying that, yeah, we will do it or not do it.
Sure. So in your presentation, Balaji writes, in your presentation, you had mentioned offline Aadhaar, that is XML. Does WDI gives us XML, where can I use it?
Yeah. WDI will push an XML file to you, which then gets pushed back to us. So you will have to get the consent from the investor saying that, yeah, we are willing to share the credentials from WDI. So the way this is structured is that, when the XML comes to you and then you say submit, it will get passed to us. So those are integrations which have all been done by distributors, by AMCs and others to move the records to us.
So I think if again, Apurva writes, if there is no mobile number registered in Aadhaar, then what will happen? You will have to register the mobile number which is there on an application that will be taken into account.
That's right.
Yeah. In the new KYC form in section 7 attestation, there are options to tick in documents received section, that is certified copies, eKYC data received from UIDAI, data received from offline verification, digital KYC process, equivalent e-document, video-based KYC. Which one should one tick when we upload e-Aadhaar PDF?
I'm unable to remember each one of those ones that you mentioned right now. So you may want to just read those. Which one is it?
Should I read it again?
Yeah, just that options which are mentioned there.
So the document received section, right? Certified copies, eKYC data received from UIDAI, data received from offline verification, digital KYC process, equivalent e-document, video
data received from offline verification. That's the one.
Data received. Data received from offline verification. That is to be ticked.
Yeah. That's
true. Doing IPV is still mandatory as you are anyways validating, uploading the OVD.
IPV is not mandatory when you are doing the eKYC kind of a thing. That is not mandatory. See, today the process still remains the same as far as in-person verification is to be concerned. whether the AMC does it or the front office does it or whoever is doing it, that is still a mandatory requirement to mention that, saying that, yeah, in-person verification is done. So please get it done even for the physical ones that you are submitting to us. Even though it may be Aadhaar already, yeah, please.
So my Anita Mehta writes, my client has a name of a mother in PAN and of course name of father in Aadhaar. What does it, what to do in this particular case?
What to do in this particular case, meaning what is it that they want to write?
I think we don't link the parent's name to Aadhaar. So they can continue it or they can match it to one.
Yeah, that's right. I think the mother's name is asked in one of the documents. The father's name is asked in the PAN. The mother's name is asked in UDAI, I think so.
So even in the PAN now, you can give your mother's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the recent one which they have included.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Manjusha writes, how is FIFA registration done, whether it is for MF distributors, or I will get back to you, Manjusha, on this. We need the existing KYC, which we do with Aadhaar. I think this I will answer it. Yes, we will have to complete the Aadhaar validation for all clients. I think Suresh, how can we know whether validation is complete or not? Suresh Subramaniam writes this, Karthikeyan, how can we know whether validation is completed or not?
See, the time given for an Aadhaar validation today is 48 hours. T+2 is what is being given to us by SEBI. So, like anything else, to know, you can just go and put in the PAN number to know what is the status of it. It will tell you KYC validated, will be mentioned in the when you put in the PAN number. So that's already available for you to verify in all the KRA websites. It's not new; it's already there.
So, Manjusha writes, if we submit passport or voter's ID as address proof, so is the validation thing necessary?
The key differentiator is the word that in the case of a non-Aadhaar, which is a passport or a driving license or a voter ID card, we'll only verify what is being submitted to us. The meaning of verification there is that you have given a document saying that this is a passport. You've given a copy of that, you've self-attested it and all of those which is there, and that comes to us. We are just verifying what you have written in the application matches to what is there as a document being given. That's the only verification that we are doing. We are not doing validation in those cases. Validation is being done in the case of an Aadhaar, where we are validating with the records of UDAI as to whether it is the same person. So there is a difference there in terms of validation to a verification. So non-Aadhaar is all verification. Aadhaar is validation.
Yeah, okay. So can you repeat again?
Non-Aadhaar is verification.
Okay.
Aadhaar is validation. We are validating the Aadhaar credentials.
Okay. Aadhaar is validation.
Yeah. Non-Aadhaar is just a verification of whatever has been given. We are not going and validating to check what is being given. For example, there are options available to validate a driving license or a passport. But it's not something we are going and validating there. Only verifying what they have submitted to what we have.
Sure. In Aadhaar KYC, in Aadhaar based KYC, the MFD will scan the QR code. They will also have to attach self-attested copy of Aadhaar with the KYC form. Yes, Palak, you will have to attach that. We have to keep image of Aadhaar scan image of QR code as a record for submission of KYC. I mean, along with the KYC form.
Not required. See, if the PDF, automatically the QR code is there as a part of it. So you just are attaching it and giving it. In the case of a scanned one, again, there is an image that you will get that you will take a print and you will attach. So really not much changes there. That all those documents you will take a print and hand it over to us.
So it says, Balaji writes, if a KYC already has a status of unprocessed or on hold, can we use online KYC option to update the KYC?
You may not be able to do it, but there is a link which is being sent to you. The link is being sent to you, which means there's a deficiency in the document there, and they would have rejected that particular document. That's why this link is coming to you to complete it on a digital way. That's why, as far as the eKYC is concerned. So if Balaji is referring to a document which has been rejected, it wouldn't be showing as hold. If it is on hold, it means you have to give a remedial document which you have to go and submit it in person in the office. So there you won't get a link. There's a difference there called on hold and on rejection. Rejection means it's completely rejected. You will have to completely submit a new set of documents, or you can now do it through a digital means through an eKYC link that we are sending it to you. In the case of something which is on hold, which means there is some remedial document which you have to submit, which is mostly in the case of non-Aadhaar only that we'll put it on hold. If it is an Aadhaar, it's going to be a rejection at this point of time.
We want to change existing clients KYC, which we do Aadhaar based. Should we do Aadhaar based? I think I'm not able to understand this question.
If it's an existing one, there isn't anything that you can do to change. You will only want to, if you have a modification request, then you can submit either a non-Aadhaar as a documentary proof, or you can submit an Aadhaar as a documentary proof. And if it is Aadhaar, we will validate it. So an existing one, there is no. I'm also not very clear on the question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you please guide on non-individual KYC and NRI?
Non-individual, we aren't doing anything. There's no change. The process, whatever is being defined around currently, that continues to run. NRI, again, there is no change in terms of what the process is. But if an NRI were to submit Aadhaar as an OBD, then they have to go through the same process that is being done by an individual. There is no change to it. Only thing is the NRIs have to give a mandatory document of their overseas thing, which could be their, other than the passport, which they have to mandatorily share. They'll have to give their, let's say, social security card or some such documents of their living in other country.
So Rajkumar Ashwani writes, how can one update the name in the existing KYC?
You will have to give the modification request. There is a form that you need to fill the modification request. Obviously there's a change of name means that you would have given some of those supporting documents like legal documents and others or whatever. I'm assuming it's a complete change. So you're submitting all those legal documents to make the change, and the PAN number remains the same, I guess so.
So I have, there's a message which says I have checked some KYCs of my clients. Some of them shows validated and some doesn't show any remarks. What does it mean? Have you validated at your end and it has been done successfully? I think you did answer this.
Those which are validated is validated. Obviously, there's nothing to do. Those which have not been there, which means there is no information for them to check whether it is rejected or whether it is on hold. I think that's the question that they want to know. Yeah. What happens is when we are rejecting, the distributor may not get to know that it has been rejected. Whereas the investor, if they have given a mobile and an email, it goes to them saying that your document has been rejected, and please give a remedial documents, and so that goes to them. If both email and mobile is not mentioned, then a letter goes to them saying that please get your KYC has been rejected. Please get the new set of application done to complete your KYC. Should that be shown in the thing of those rejections? I think that's a good suggestion. Let me take that, and I'll probably see how I can help them.
Sure. So Prajyot writes, while validating mobile and email, will you call investors for OTP or investors have to do it on their own?
You're referring to Aadhaar OTP or which one? I do not know. If it is an Aadhaar OTP, it is something which is between the investor and the distributor. We have no role to play.
Sure. So here Palaniappan talks about what I think you've just answered this, Karthikeyan. What about an NRI customer who has given Aadhaar as a proof of for KYC? Is it to be revalidated?
It is.
Yes, it has to be revalidated. Praveen Kumar Patodia writes, if your message gets delivered either on mobile or email, but not both, then in that case, will the KYC be on hold?
If one of them fails, yes, it has to go on hold.
Okay. So if one of them fails, it will be, the KYC will be going on hold.
That's right.
If the client is not available and they are not clicking for mobile or email validation, then what happens?
The successful delivery is what we will go by.
Yeah.
So it is delivered and we don't get a bounce message from the service provider, we will treat it as delivered and say it is validated.
Yeah. What should be informed to clients for Aadhaar OTP verification?
I didn't understand the question as to what should be.
I think a question is saying that what is the communication that we have to give it to the clients with regard to the Aadhaar OTP verification? Should they accept or not accept?
They should accept.
Yeah.
Why will I not do it? I mean, it's education is there to be done to everyone to say that, yeah, when you get these messages, please accept them. I know there is always a fear of, am I clicking the right link and others? Yeah, that I think has now become quite common.
There's a question which says mask Aadhaar print is valid.
Very much valid. Yes. Even if it is not masked, we request you to mask it and give it to us. So it is a valid document, and w.e.f is very clear. You can't so unmasked document with us.
Sure. So Akshay, I think this question we have answered. Where will we get the list of clients available who have submitted Aadhaar, whose KYCs are registered? I think CAMS is working on that database and they will get back to us how they can share the link or the list. Shilpa writes, for all folios of existing or new mobile number, email ID has to be same as all three levels. KYC data, RTA data, and in records of AMC. If yes, by which date it needs to be done?
That is not a mandatory requirement that everything has to be the same. I know there is nothing like that. But whatever is being given to the KRA, it gets validated. That's from our side. So what happens at the AMC side or what happens, at w.e.f, it's not our thing, but what is given to us has to be validated. That's about from our side.
So Vinayak Panchal writes, printed copy of Aadhaar, is it mandatory to be only in a color copy or it can be in a black and white?
It can be black and white as well.
Okay. Aadhaar validation process has to be after login in H360. Currently, if we log in H360, Aadhaar validation page goes away. So I think there's some technical issue here.
Mm-hmm. As of now, it's there. So I don't know when was it looked at. I have no idea. It's there.
So Jaimin, it's available just now. I think he has just checked and it's available. Maybe you will have to check it again.
As I said, if it is not available, then maybe I don't know if they've downloaded the app, whether they have updated that particular app from Play Store. If not, please update the app.
So I think it's essential to update the app.
Yeah, because the latest features are being added. So this is a new feature which has come, so you have to update it.
Yeah. A request to CAMS KRA that for revalidation of old KYC, please come out with the process ASAP and not with a deadline of 30th April. Ami Panchal writes, for existing investors KYC, how KRA will contact investors for KYC validation only with SMS emails, or they will call the investors?
There's no call. There's only SMS, email, and where we don't have this info, letters will be sent out.
Letters will be sent out. I think, Ashish, we've just said that with regard to the list of clients KYC registered by Aadhaar, I think we will come out shortly how we can send a list, so that it'll facilitate you to update the new KYC. If one client is NRI and they want to register mobile number of their parents, who live in India, and email register their own, is it okay?
Yeah, it doesn't really, the system doesn't differentiate as to who it is. It doesn't ask any of those details as to whom it belongs to.
Sure. Palak writes, how will the OTP-based validation for email and mobile number will work? Please clarify, didn't understand. How will OTP-based validation for email and mobile number will work?
An OTP-based a trigger, when it happens to them, the OTP has to be refed and sent back to us. So once that is done, then obviously they'll be able to. So there is a space in which they have to go and feed in their OTP, and then they press submit. It will come back to us. Are we going to take long? Do we have still many questions?
I have a lot of questions. So what I will do is, Mr. Karthikeyan, I think you will have to send us do's and don'ts, questionnaire that we will have to do. And I will share a lot of these questions. I think most of are repeats, but I will definitely send this and I'll send it across to you so that we can have a do's and don'ts kind of questionnaire.
Yeah.
Today I had some 130 questions.
Most of them were repeat. Yeah, if you had filtered it, would have come probably 50.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Karthikeyan. I think we've you've been with us for the last 2 hours, and it's been absolutely informative. And in case if we have further questions, members, please write to us at FIFA, and we will forward it to the KRA, and we'll get the right answers for you to help you navigate this whole process.
Thank you so much, Rupa. I appreciate that, and thanks for having me. I wish you all.
Thank you, Karthikeyan. Thank you, Yuvraj. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.